Hello and welcome to the Hellraiser blog, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed today's blog, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and share it on your social media. Get some rightful recognition for the Hellraiser blog. Right, today going to look at Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois, breakdown of the fight and give you a prediction. So I think this is a fight when Daniel Dubois was first signed as a professional with Martin Bowers and Frank Warren. I'm sure in the back of their minds they had make this fight with Anthony Joshua. There were reports of Dubois had supposedly smashed Joshua in sparring, and he was gonna, walk through him and blah blah. What we've seen of Dubois so far, I would say, hasn't really made me think he is the guy to dethrone Anthony Joshua. Although Anthony Joshua has since been dethroned by Usyk, and I think you've got to mention in any blog or anything that you look at with regards to this fight, it is for a world title. But I think, boxing politics aside, there's no way it could be for a world title because the real world champion is Alexander Usyk, because no one's beaten him or so far come close since he became the champion. So Joshua has advantage in height and in reach, meaning that Dubois will need to cut down the range, get inside. And actually I would say, if I was to say what is the main strength, the main highlight that Daniel Dubois has, the main asset he has that could potentially cause problems, is he counters very, very well, slips and counters very, very well. So if Joshua comes out flat-footed, plodding a bit, trying to land stiff punches on him with his chin out, which I don't think he's going to do because he knows he's fighting Dubois, who I'm sure, especially as he sparred with him, he'll understand. Everyone that sparred with Dubois says his jab is like thunder. His jab is, he's sparred one guy that I manage, who I'll go into afterwards, but his punch power was really the thing that marked me the most. He's a big puncher, Daniel Dubois. If they both stay at long range, for certain Joshua has the longer arms. It's sort of arguable who has the better jab, but Joshua does have a very, very good jab. I also manage a boxer that boxed Joshua, who told me, he said his jab was amazing. He said it was harder than the right hand off most fighters, and he said very accurate, and wherever you move to, it seemed to find you. So Joshua probably going to find Dubois with his jab, and we need to see how Dubois will deal with that before really we can go off with different permutations. But my bet is Dubois actually will struggle to deal with the jab. Maybe the first round will be more cagey, but I think as soon as Joshua finds his range, which will happen quickly, because fighting someone who moves laterally constantly like Usyk is quite difficult to find your range and to measure their movements and how they're likely to position themselves halfway through the attacks. But I think Dubois is maybe easier to predict for Joshua. I'm not certain that Joshua is so easy to predict for Dubois. I think Dubois probably will have to gamble here. I think you're probably going to see a first round where Joshua just out jabs him and keeps him long and just gets the measure of him and tries to find his range. I think quite quickly Joshua will find his range because he will be landing on Dubois. If you watch the fight that Daniel Dubois had with Hrgović, the number of backhand punches that lands flush on Dubois, and I remember at the time thinking, this Hrgović obviously isn't quite the puncher that he has been reported to be, because if he was a puncher and he was landing those shots, that would have brought the fight to an end very quickly. because they were clean, they were flush, and they were consistent. It was like, every round, 2 or 3 of them landing. If he takes those kind of punches from Joshua, this fight will be over very quickly. I'm not convinced, I'm not certain. Look, I would say Dubois has improved considerably over the period of time that he's been a professional. Now, it's quite unfair on, for example, Martin Bowers, because he probably would have improved as with having Martin Bowers as his coach. Martin Bowers is a good coach, someone I know very well, and Daniel Dubois would have improved with him. But he moved on. He was with Shane and Barry McGuigan, and then with Don Charles. All of these guys are now good coaches, but like I say, for Shane McGuigan and for Martin Bowers, it's a shame if you invested all that time into a fighter and then the fighter moves on and suddenly gets all the plaudits. Even if, like, I've been in the gym with Don Charles and with Daniel Dubois, and I actually thought Dubois had improved in that time from when I'd last seen him box till then, but he probably would have improved whoever the coach was. But anyway, Don Charles, I thought, did a really good job with him. I thought the first thing I felt that I noticed improvement was with his defensive, not being quite so open. He was still, for me, too open, and really struggled in certain areas. But I did feel like he's moving in the right direction. And then he's boxed Usyk since that spar that I'm talking about. So Alexander Usyk, I felt Dubois was hard done by with his body shot, because I thought the body shot was legal. I wish, for his sake, that he'd thrown it an inch higher, because it might have been a little bit clearer to the judges and the referee then that it wasn't a low shot. I didn't feel it was a low punch. It was borderline, but I thought it was just marginally inside the target area and therefore not a foul. And it definitely hurt Usyk. And from that point of view, you'd say, well, Dubois got robbed there. And when you think Usyk beat Anthony Joshua the first time very comfortably, the second time not so comfortably but still quite clearly, and Dubois could have beat Usyk, so you'd think, well, surely Usyk has Dubois has a great chance here. For me, he strictly has a puncher's chance. He will not outbox Anthony Joshua. He won't outwork him. He won't outmaneuver him. Joshua's a smart guy. I think Joshua gets a bad log because of the way he lost against Andy Ruiz, and then the convincing defeats to Alexander Usyk. But Ruiz is absolutely a world-class puncher, and Alexander Usyk is I think in 100 years' time people will still be talking about Alexander Usyk. He's a phenomenal boxer. He's a brilliant boxer. He's one of my favourite boxers now, and I think to get outboxed by him, especially the second time, where Joshua really improved his offering the second time they boxed, I think Joshua really should attract plaudits from that. He's had moments where, where he gave a speech after one fight, but he was buzzed. He was very sort of punch drunk, if you like, and a lot of boxers, if they come out and they've had a hard fight like that, they lose their bearings, and it's having someone in there who can actually steer things. And I think we're getting closer to a situation with Ben Davison and my good friend Barry Smith, who are now working with Joshua. But I think they might be able, this is a feeling that I get, it's not something that I know, it's a feeling that I get, a vibe, that I feel as if Joshua has more respect for them, as if he's in a happier, more comfortable place. You don't necessarily want fighters to be in a comfortable place too much. You want them to be pushed. But I think if you respect the guy that's training you, if you really believe in them, it makes it easier to let them push you. to accept the bossing about that has to happen with a boxer and a trainer. The trainer has to steer the ship and has to push the boxer, because if he doesn't, he's not going to get the best out of him. And I just got a feeling they've got it right. I've got a feeling that you're going to see a very, very good version of Anthony Joshua. I like Daniel Dubois, and actually I think he's a brilliant fighter. I mean, he's a really good fighter. Can he upset the apple cart against Anthony Joshua? I would say he can, but he won't. I just can't see it. I think Joshua's going to put in a career-defining display. I think it's the perfect opponent for him to shine against. It's fighting someone who's hittable, who's dangerous himself. It's not a pudding, it's a dangerous guy. So Joshua will be on his very wary, on his guard. And I think the moment that he finds the range with his jab, you're going to see him unload very early in the fight. I don't think because he won't want to take the risk of standing with Dubois for too long. But the moment that he sees the opening to land that shot, and he's found his range and he's got his rhythm, I think he's going to unload. I think you could see a stoppage as early as the second, third round. My prediction, I'm going to say Anthony Joshua to win by stoppage in the, let's say the fourth round. I'm going to say the fourth, and I think I'm even there being generous because it could be quicker. I think Joshua, the first time he sees the gap, he's going to let go with an absolute bomb. And so far Dubois has not responded particularly favourably when he's been hit with big shots. Against Joe Joyce, you know, he had a terrible injury against Joe Joyce, but it was as if everything fell apart very quickly for him. And really, you look at the stoppage against. I know since then he's been the distance and really looked good, but the way he lost against Usyk. This is after the body shot. I just think it's as if spiritually, mentally, he gave up. He'd had enough, and he took a way out rather than being carried out on his shield. And if you think the punches that Usyk and Hrgovic and these people hit Dubois with, and then compare them with the punches that Joshua's going to hit him with, Anthony Joshua can really, really hit. Probably the biggest puncher that we've seen for a long time, and we're going to see him hitting Dubois with those shots. And I'm absolutely not convinced that Dubois will be able to ship that punishment. Listen, I hope that they all come through healthy. I really have the utmost respect for Anthony Joshua and for Daniel Dubois, so I hope that they both just deliver their great performance. It's going to be a brilliant night. I'm going to be there. I'm looking forward to going there because I think it is one of those opportunities where to see a spectacle that you'll never forget. I've been to Wembley when it's full before for a boxing match several times, seen Anthony Joshua box there before. I think it's going to be brilliant, and I'm going for Anthony Joshua in 4. So enjoy the fight. Let me know your thoughts, please, in the comments, because I love reading that and those. And may the best man win. Hit the like and subscribe. See you again soon on the channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye. Bye bye.